we know that yesterday they went through with the primaries in Arizona, Florida, and Illinois. The CDC was telling people to stay home. The DNC said, screw that, get out and vote. And they were totally unprepared. I mean, we watched some of the videos from yesterday. There were polling places in Illinois that didn't even have the necessary materials for people to vote. People were showing up to polling places. They didn't even have the equipment necessary to vote. People were not trained. Judges were calling off. Poll workers were calling off because it wasn't safe for them to get there. Places were understaffed. People were shifted to different locations. One of our regular viewers, Kate, said that her father, who was 85 years old, was volunteering at the polls, which was very dangerous for him to do. I hope he's okay. Somebody at that age, of course, is at high risk for corona. I hope Kate's dad's doing great. I hope he's all right. That all happened yesterday. And that was a huge message from the DNC and from Tom Perez that says they really don't care about you at all. They don't give two shits about you. They don't give two shits about an honest election or a fair election. And they don't give two shits about you. They don't care. And besides them just truly not caring at all, what's the real reason? Why were they so anxious to make sure? Why couldn't they delay it? Oh, and by the way, states that did delay it are facing a potential delegate penalty. Ohio delayed theirs. Now they're facing a potential delegate penalty for delaying it. Why is that? Why? Why were they so insistent that it had to happen right now? Well, here's the real reason why. Bernie Sanders was catching up in the polls. Check this out. This is from Rosa Calderon on Twitter. Want to know why the DNC didn't postpone the primaries? I'll tell you, but you probably already knew. Here's a poll from The Hill. Sanders cuts Biden lead to single digits among Democratic voters. Bernie Sanders was catching up. They knew this. They knew a lot of people watched on Sunday where there were two closing statements. One closing statement was talking about what we need to do to handle this crisis and what we need to do going forward and the types of policies we need in this country to prevent something from like this from happening again. The other was a babbling buffoon talking about sign language. And I'm talking about the debate between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. So they knew that Bernie Sanders was catching up, and they didn't want that to happen. How bad did check this out. The Biden campaign shared misinformation about coronavirus ahead of Tuesday's vote. That's how badly they wanted to make sure people got out there. How badly they wanted to make sure that the establishment chosen one, Joe Biden, got to move forward. And it looks like they got what they wanted. Biden's campaign shared misinformation about coronavirus ahead of Tuesday's vote. The Biden campaign came under fire Sunday for spreading dangerous misinformation about the coronavirus in order to push its drive to drive voter turnout for the primaries on Tuesday, March 17th. It began with a tweet from Joe Biden's account suggesting that voters displaying no symptoms of the deadly disease could safely participate in Tuesday's contest, which, by the way, isn't true. You could have no symptoms for a while, actually. At first, they said 4 days. Now, there's more data out there indicating it could be a lot longer than that. So if you're at risk, just because you don't have any symptoms doesn't mean you're fine. Biden campaign senior advisor Simone Sanders claimed that the CDC had cleared the primaries as safe. That's also not true. The CDC was advising people to stay home. And none of those locations were prepared with cleaning supplies. Or when they did get it, they got one thing of wipes and one thing of hand sanitizer for 11 hours. We covered that on the show yesterday. With just over half the states left to vote, Joe Biden is the favorite to win the Democratic nomination in July. It's back to the article. However, the coronavirus pandemic has many questioning whether or not primary contests should continue as planned. While top election officials in Arizona, Florida, Illinois, and Ohio released a statement Friday saying they will go ahead, Louisiana, Georgia, Puerto Rico have pushed their primaries back. The CDC, meanwhile, has published a guidance statement calling on organizers to cancel large gatherings, including Here, let's read this. Including conferences, festivals, parades, concerts, sporting events, weddings, and other types of assemblies. That includes a bunch of people in line to frickin' vote. According to the World Health Organization, coronavirus is extremely contagious. But 80% of the coronavirus are asymptomatic or mild, meaning the virus can be spread by individuals who display no symptoms at all. Remember what Joe Biden tweeted? Oh, if you don't have any symptoms, you're fine. Oh, no, actually, it can be spread by people who are experiencing no symptoms. These statistics, the article goes on to tell us, went unheeded by the Biden's campaign. State election officials are working closely with public health officials to hold safe elections. No, they didn't. They didn't even have any safety guidelines, and election poll workers were told they didn't have time to do anything about cleanliness. We covered this on the show yesterday. You can go see those videos. Everything Biden tweeted is a straight up lie. The tweet was panned as dangerous for downplaying the risk of asymptomatic transmission. Dangerous is putting it lightly. Criminal is a better way to describe it. Criminal is much more accurate. And Bernie Sanders on Sunday did say he thinks that the primary should be postponed. I think he should have been a little harder edged on that one. I think he should have been a little more firm in that, but he did say that they should be postponed. And then when it was obvious they weren't going to be postponed, he said, look, you got, he issued a tweet where he was like, you got to do what you got to do. If you don't feel safe and you don't go out, understandable. If you do go out, please be very careful. That's what Bernie Sanders tweeted when it was obvious the primaries were going to happen anyway. Joe Biden said, get out and vote. And they knew why. We know why. They did not want the tide to shift. There was a chance at a new momentum grab. Because people are talking about UBI now. People are talking about a jobs guarantee. They're talking about all these things. They're talking about Medicare for all. Medicare for all is overwhelmingly favored. Joe Biden is on tape as of recently, on video as of recently, saying he would veto Medicare for all. There was a chance for a big tide shift. The Biden campaign and the DNC knew that. So they put your life in danger. They put your life in danger to make sure they got their establishment chosen one. It's almost insulting that they even hold primaries. Because they're just going to do whatever they can to make sure they get the candidate they want. I saw someone tweeted this, and I just kind of saw it in passing, so I can't credit the person. But they tweeted, they were like, I'd almost respect this organization more if they just said, you don't get to pick the nominee, we do, screw you. And just threw the establishment tool at us. So that's why, if there was any doubt in anyone's mind, if anyone thought, oh, well, maybe they just thought, no, they knew what the risk was. But they'd rather have you go to the polls and get sick. They'd rather spread the coronavirus more than take the chance that the tides would shift and their anointed one, Joe Biden, wouldn't be able to run off with this thing. Because they don't care about you at all. At all. So they knowingly lied. The Biden campaign knowingly and intentionally lied to you. And not just about some policy. This isn't just plain dirty politics. This isn't just Joe Biden. They put your lives in danger because they care that. And you know that had Bernie won, they would have declared the results invalid. The DNC was in a situation where it's a win-win for them. Because they don't care if you get the coronavirus. They don't even care if you die. They don't care. But if for some reason Bernie Sanders would have ran away with it, they would have been like, oh, well, this is invalid because not everyone got to vote. This is too. But, as long as their guy Biden gets through, they're fine with it. This is by design. The Biden campaign knowingly lied to put your life in danger. This goes beyond politics now. This is dangerous, psychotic behavior. Wow. I mean, it's like, I mean, I guess the one silver lining in all of this is that, the stuff that all of us have been screaming about for so loud is now just abundantly true. That it's like you have a government that is owned by the ruling class, that has been bought off years ago, that doesn't just not work for you, the people, actively works against you. They don't care about you. And they already have given the banks trillions, and we're sitting here holding our breath that maybe they'll give us a little something. And by the way, it's not a, quote, handout. We can't work. People can't go to work. All right. So there you go. That's why Joe Biden and the campaign did what they did. And that's why the DNC did what they did. And it was nothing short of criminal. It was nothing short of criminal. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your